All right, so you're getting traffic, but you're not getting conversions, and it's a huge problem. So if you're making any of these 5 mistakes, you're probably leaving thousands of dollars on the table every single month. So stick around, I'll show you exactly what's going wrong and how you can fix it. If you're new here, my name's Josiah Roche, and I've helped my clients pull in $73 million with high converting landing pages. And I've seen the same mistake pop up over and over again, and honestly, they're probably costing you more than you realize. So today I'm going to break these down, going through the big mistakes that is killing your conversions. So let's get into it. No fluff. What's mistake number 1? Mistake number 1 is talking too much about yourself. So pretty much every business owner I know makes this same mistake, more and more often anyway. And so they talk too much about themselves on their website. So if your landing page is full of like, we're the best, we're experts, we've got 20 years of experience, then you're falling for this like bias, what we call the egocentric bias, which is when you get so caught up on your own achievements that you forget what the customer cares about, which is only one thing, it's what's in it for me. That's all they're asking for at the end of the day. To put it in perspective, if you're shopping for a new phone, for example, you go to the website, instead of telling you how the phone makes your life easier, they just ramble on how long they've been in business for, and they've won a bunch of awards and this and that. And sure, these things help, but if you can't like communicate the core essential elements of that landing page in terms of what the product offers to fix your problem, then no one gives a shit, right? So most people are just thinking, well, yeah, cool, I get it. You won a bunch of awards. This looks impressive, but how does the phone actually help me, right? And so that's what you need to do instead of like focusing on all specs. It really depends on what the person is looking for at the end of the day. If they're a tech geek and all they care about is features, then maybe that might be a different story. But we're all human, and at the end of the day, most of the time we buy for emotional reasons to begin with, and then justify with logic later. So here's what to do instead. So you got to flip the script and make sure your customer is like the star of the show. So there are copywriting frameworks out there. There's a popular one we use all the time called Problem Agitate Solution. You might have heard of this before, but it's called PAS, the acronym. And so what it means is problem is like when you're writing your paragraph or your sentence, you might say, you start with the visitor's problem. What are they going through right now in relation to finding a phone? And then you dig into why this problem sucks. You agitate it. You basically dig the knife in and twist it. Like twisting is the agitate. I know it's pretty gruesome language, but this is kind of like how we were trained. And then solution, which is the final bit in PAS, is show how your product or service is the answer. How is that bridge the gap there between the problem, oh, you've agitated it and put salt in the wound. Oh, okay. Oh, this is how you can put that out and heal that wound. It's the solution. It's how you bridge the gap between that problem. So a few examples, just to put in perspective. You might say previously, like, we've been in business for 20 years, serving thousands of satisfied customers. Again, no one gives a shit. So you could change that and say something like, struggling with high electricity bills? You're probably paying way more than you need to. We'll show you how to slash those costs by 30% starting now. That's way more compelling. And sure, like I'm not like waving the idea that you don't need the whole serving thousands of customers thing, because that's very, very important. But in little dribs and drabs, like tastefully peppered throughout the page, but not like the first thing people see, right? Another example might be, you might say, we're the leading experts in skincare, right? Again, no one gives a shit about that. Instead, say something like, are you sick of trying products that don't work? Our clinically proven skincare targets aging at the cellular level, so you can finally get the results you've been looking for and get that youthful glow, or youthful glow again, or something like that, right? And so the main thing is to make sure that the language on the page, especially at the top, where it's got to be more emotional, is relating to them. And the key thing that I do when I'm going through client websites is try to look for the word we, or our, and try to see how you can replace that with you instead. So mistake number 2 is not knowing who you're talking to. So this relates to number 1. Like, how the heck can you fix number 1, which is talking too much about yourself, if you don't know who you're talking to, which is the second mistake. People basically assume that other people on the other side of the screen are who their ideal audience are. If you've ever been to a gathering or social event at a squash center or a party or whatever it is, I don't know why I use that example, you have people come up to you and talk to you and say, hey, did you catch the football on the weekend? Or did you do this? And then it's like, what if your only interests are in golf and you hate football. Like, they're just assuming that you know. Like, some people, they'll say, hey, watch the game on the weekend. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about soccer, football, league? Are you talking about badminton? What the fuck are you talking about? This is actually a bias. It's called the curse of knowledge. And look it up, right? It's a real thing. It's called curse of knowledge. So it's when you assume people know and care about the same things you do. That's what it is. So it's when, like, a doctor and you're coordinating with other doctors, you assume that they all have the same kind of ground knowledge as you. And it might be a fair assumption to make, but it's not like reality, not everyone is on the same page as you. So this is what people do when they're writing too much about themselves and they're not talking about the right things in the right language to certain people on the website. If you don't know who you're talking to, then everything you write isn't really going to matter and you're not going to see the results you want. You know, if you're selling to high-end watches, for example, if you talk to everyone the same way, like a seasoned executive versus a stay-at-home dad, then it's like you're trying to target way too many people and you really don't understand why people are buying your stuff. What you have to do is build what we call a persona. So a persona is like a document where you write down your audience, like who do you think they are, and what their pain points, their fears, their desires, objections, all that kind of stuff that you could actually use in your marketing, the useful stuff. You know, if you're talking about lawn care, for example, it could be that, you know, they're sick of like coming home for their 9 to 5, they've got their spare weekend, but they have to do the lawn on the weekend. And they're so frustrated that they have to do that. Or, you know, that could be a pain that they have. An objection they have to hiring a lawn care company could be like, they're too expensive. I'd want someone to show up on time, or, you know, I want something affordable. So that they're kind of objections. Fears might be like, I'm scared of hiring a lawn care company and they totally trash my lawn and get it wrong. Whatever it is, right? So that's just an example of a persona. So it's a good idea for you to have this single page document that's actually usable. The problem with most personas and archetypes out there and what branding companies prescribe is it's not actually usable. Like, when the hell am I going to use this Arnold Schwarzenegger looking, this is my ideal hero that I'm talking to, and this is their most relatable personality or celebrity that they admire. Like, how are you going to use that? Unless it's a big thing in their persona, and that makes sense. Most of the time it's not. So you do need to spend some time coming up with a persona for each of the target audiences you're targeting. So if you're selling high-end watches, for example, you might have a separate page for a more low-end that relates to stay-at-home dads that have a bit of coin. You might have another landing page for the same product for executive people, white collar, all that kind of stuff. And you would speak to them a different way, like a timepiece that stands the test of time. Our watches are crafted with the finest materials that pass down through generations, right? You might speak more eloquently like that. And then the other one with stay-at-home dads, you might talk a little bit more rough, colloquial, you know. So anyway, you do need to know who you're speaking to, and that's the second biggest mistake that most landing pages have out there. The third one is a weak offer. An offer could be, like, let's talk about a very basic one, which is kind of like a get free consultation, which is quite a basic one for professional services, or call out quotes. We'll give you a free quote or whatever. And so a weak offer really doesn't create a sense of like value, right? It might be like get free quote or get free consultation. It doesn't create enough like want, right? It's not compelling enough. And so our idea here for the landing page is to create enough urgency where it feels like people are missing out. Kind of like FOMO, right? You might have heard of that before. And basically, it's kind of like with Black Friday, you know, people lining up at 5 a.m. in the morning, they think they're missing out on this amazing deal because by the time store opens, most people like snatched all the stuff that you actually wanted, right? It's kind of, you're trying to do the same thing, but on a digital web page where you're trying to make it, you know, you'd be silly to pass up the offer. And so, like, instead of saying, like, get a free consultation, you could say, a book today and get a free 30-minute consultation plus a custom plan to double your sales. It's custom, valued at $500, right? And you're telling them the value because most people don't know how much that's even worth. You know, so you've got to have to tell them the value of it. Another kind of thing would be, like, sign up for our newsletter. No one gives a shit about your newsletter. Who cares? But if you say, like, join our insider trade secrets, for example, and get exclusive tips to grow your business, plus a free ebook valued at $50, you're probably more compelled to actually sign up to that newsletter because you feel like you're getting something out of it, tangible. You feel like you're getting enough value there. You might even create urgency in terms of limited spots available, or we're only giving out, 20 this month. But basically, you need to make people feel like it's too good to pass up, okay? And that's really the trick here. It's a bit of an art and a bit of a science, and it's hard to do. If it were easy, everyone would do it, and everyone does try to do it, but it's like only a few of them, they might look like they know what they're doing, but when you check in their back-end numbers, they're not seeing the results. And so don't be fooled by what other people have got out there. Just try a few different versions yourself. See what works. Okay, so that's mistake number 3, which is weak offers. Number 4, which is not showing enough proof. So when it comes to spending money, like you would know this yourself, when you're spending money, you're usually naturally skeptical, right? You don't want to give just people free money away. Like sometimes it depends what it is. You might feel generous in the moment, depending on how you feel emotionally. But most people, they want to see that other people have already committed to it first. You don't want to be the first one trying this thing and feeling like a guinea pig, right? You don't want to be the little test subject for like an agency to like work, try to learn on your dime sort of thing. You don't want to be that first person. No one does, right? So this is why social proof is so important, because we follow others that have already done it and been in our situation before. So the past, and then their present is they're at the state where we want to reach. Like we want to get to that desired outcome. We want to reach where they are. And we want to see that they've been in our shoes before, and then they have been on across the other side and they've fixed that problem. Think about, when you're choosing a restaurant, you're probably not going to go to a place where it's like 1-star reviews. Or put another way, if you see a restaurant and you see it's super popular and there's a line out the door, and there's one right next door that's super empty, which one are you going to pick? And likely it's going to be the one at the line out the door because the food's so bloody good. Or at least that's the inference that you have, because you see a line and you think, other people think this is good, so whatever. So what I'm trying to say and how this gets to the point is most people don't show this kind of proof. They don't show like enough testimonials, enough case studies. This is where this person was. This is where they are now and they love it, and they had the same problems as you. You had these problems, you have these problems now, and we can help you do the same, and that's basically it in a nutshell. We're pretty simple if you put it down to that way. When someone sees a button to take that next step, they're hesitant naturally. And so you want to have like a little 5-star review icon below, trusted by 400 people. You want to pepper these in so that people are ready to take that next step. And when they are hesitant, at least they see that social proof so that they're more confident and trust in the decision to take that next step. So that's mistake number 4. We're nearly done, guys. Bear with me. Mistake number 5, which is offering too many choices. So on your landing page, there's a reason why some of the $1 million landing pages out there have no options on the menu. They have 0. They have a click to call button, and that is it. Keep scrolling, right? Keep until you hit that button to take that one next step. They're not going to offer you anything. No rabbit holes into a blog. No, they don't want you to venture out too much, because guess what? That increases conversion rate when you get rid of all the extra choices. So when people have too many options, right, what happens? They choose nothing and just leave. So it's like the paradox of choice. When more options lead to decision paralysis. I always butcher that one. So if your landing page is like cluttered with too many choices, your visitors often get overwhelmed and they just bail, right? And it sucks, but that's what happens. And you can actually use something like Microsoft Clarity or Hotjar and to actually see this yourself. See what people are doing. So if you walk into a store and you buy a simple pair of jeans and you hit with 100 styles and colors, whatever, or if you're, at a restaurant trying to pick, from the menu and the menu has 200 items on it, what are you going to do? You're going to have a really hard time choosing something and just getting it over with. But the ironic thing is that restaurant needs you to get in and out so they can serve more and more people. So you need less menu options that are really great so you can, obviously get more people in the door. And it's the same with your website. You need to simplify the heck out of it. Simplify your menu. Is everything at the top your absolute needed things that people would need in the user journey? One clear next step. Don't make it too complicated. Just you want them to just take one step. That's it. And step in the right direction that you need. So remove all the distractions, extra links, your really clunky layout that you have that doesn't need to be there, and you just get rid of like all of it and just take that next step. So get rid of your blog, get rid of like view our products. Don't treat your service pages like they're a homepage. Homepage, sure, you can have all this kind of stuff, but on your service pages, on your landing pages, don't have all this stuff that makes people go into a rabbit hole and just like they abandon the whole sequence. So that's a big thing. And try to lead with just one call to action. So the big takeaway here is less is more. So don't just take my word for it. Like, play around with this yourself, split test it, A/B test it, and, see if it works for you. Start removing one little thing at a time. Try to make your pages a bit more simple than they are and see if it increases your conversion rate. These 5 mistakes could be killing your conversions, and the good news is they're easy to fix. By going through each of these steps, they're pretty simple in nature. You can fix each of these, just work hard on it. Okay, so what we've gone is to make sure that you can focus on your customers' needs, create an offer that they can't refuse, and show social proof that others trust you already, and keep your pages super simple. So that's really all there is to it. But again, personas, I couldn't recommend them enough. So make sure that you start on a persona. I have a YouTube video on this, on how to do it step by step. I've got a free ChatGPT template for you to take away so that you can start creating this yourself in just a few minutes. So yeah, there's small changes today, but you'll be a big difference in the future. Good luck. I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.